All right, so for some reason, I just envisioned this entire podcast of a lot of replayed video clips from my home security.
Yes.
There's no,
Yes.
I don't think there's any way around it. But yeah, I had a pretty good week this week. Pretty eventful week. Had a fun week. We were in St. Louis over the weekend with my kid playing hockey, and got canceled a little early so we could get home before the bad weather hit. We were expecting 1/4 inch of ice and then a lot of snow coming in. I say a lot of snow for Nashville, relevant, not for Utah. We got probably a little more than 1/4 inch, probably up to an inch of like sleet. And it just sleet like for a while, and then it snowed on top of it a couple inches. Then we got some more coming in, but we don't get much weather like that, so you're not really used to it that much. But my beautiful wife also this week bought me a new recliner and some new house shoes, which I was showing off on my Instagram, and I absolutely loved. So
Yeah. You know,
how's the grip on those? Pretty good.
Yeah. First of all, with that one picture, right? That one picture, you proved every joke I've made on this podcast about your age.
I did. I know.
Absolutely every joke. And
I literally took the picture and was like, this is for Jesse Mullen.
Yes. It was fantastic. The loafers. And then the fact that you wear the loafers walking outside on ice, like it was going to be a good idea, and just eating absolute shit made me laugh so hard. And you know what? The best part is, let's be honest, that's the most engagement you've had on any photo or video in the last month.
It was quite a bit.
It was so much. I was watching. I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude! You got so many comments on this video."
Sam, roll the tape.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's yes, I wasn't
day.
expecting that. So the steps were icy. I didn't realize it. I knew that they were going to be a little icy, and I was trying to go slow because my kid wanted his hockey stick and puck to play in the road I knew it was icy. What I wasn't expecting is that the ice was like in a rounded form on the step and just went off like a waterfall over the step. So when I went to step on it, my foot just went. And if I didn't have one hand on the railing, it could have got really bad.
Yeah. And
I
you
thought it was
to yourself,
bad. Like I thought your leg went through the rail.
Yeah, for a second, it looked like it.
It got my shin and got my back, but I was fine.
You didn't think to yourself, or maybe you did. You're like, you know what? These loafers probably give me the best grip walking directly on top of ice. Like, I thought it was funny the first time I didn't catch you wearing the loafers, and then at the very end when you're like, your feet are in the air, like, and you're like, yes. And I was like, does he have his old man loafers on?
Like, oh yeah,
Was he just smoking out of a pipe on his recliner? What's going on here?
Shoes and sweatpants.
Yes.
I was just glad that they didn't go flying because
that would have been a lot better.
Oh,
no, I didn't think that, Jesse. I've never owned a pair of house shoes like this before, or loafers, whatever you call them. My wife
So you
said really
thought they were versatile. You're like, oh, these can go on top of ice.
He's like, I'm going hiking in these.
These bad boys are all terrain.
I like how your excuse for wearing slippers on top of ice was, I've never owned loafers before. What do you want? You expect me to know they don't have good grip? It's like,
what am I supposed to do?
Because
Research?
they're cloth on the bottom. Like, this is the best. Anyway, that video was amazing. It made my day. I smiled. I actually watched it like 7 times, and yeah, it was good. It was.
I've got like coworkers that call and be like, "Hey, I saw you had a nasty spill today." I was like, "Oh, you follow me on Instagram?" I'm like, "Nope." My neighbor was standing outside and was like, "Hey, you ought to see this guy fall down the steps," and they showed me a video, and it was you.
It's hilarious.
It's like great.
That's great. Oh man. So I had we were smoking the other day. I had my brother or Sam out. So if you didn't watch the podcast, Sam's our editor. But he was out here this weekend, and we smoked some New York strip T-bone steaks and some ribeyes. And so I turned my thing on, and for some reason it's been smoking a lot. My Traeger, it's been smoking a ton. So I turned it on, but it's also really cold out. So when it's cold, it smokes more because, I don't know, it just takes longer for that ash to burn off. So I was like, I didn't even think about it. And it's done it a few times, and so I'm like, whatever.
Well,
And
and
then
actually,
usually-
it'll say cold weather start on it.
Yes,
if
it
you've ever seen
does.
it.
And so I always just like let it go. I'm like, okay, it'll burn it off. And eventually it does, but it's been getting to a higher temp, like by like 20, 30 degrees than what it's supposed to be. And it stays there for a while. And I was like, that's weird. But anyway, I'm dumb enough not to check and like take things off and check what's going on underneath. And so when we turned it on and it like would not start, it just kept smoking and smoking and smoking. And I was like, what is going on? So I took a picture. So if you're watching the YouTube video, you'll be able to see it. But I took off the tray, like the grate, the tray, and as you know, the little deflector, right, that goes over the top of it.
Yeah.
So that's still on top, right? And even with that on top, I see full unburned pellets like coming out the sides. So I'm like, how do those not get burned? Like, why? They shouldn't be out of the little like tray, right? So I lift it up. The entire thing is filled with ash and full pellets. Like the entire thing. I've never even seen this before. But I'm like, I don't understand. Did it just keep feeding them in and it wasn't burning? Like I don't understand. But the entire thing was filled, and so it's just smoking because it had no air to breathe. And it was just literally like, I don't know, what is it? How big are those things? Like 6 inches by maybe a little less, like 4 inches by 4 inches or something.
Yeah.
But it's like 3 inches deep, and that whole thing was just filled with ash and pellets. And so that's why I couldn't get anything to start. It just kept, dude, it was so like, I'll just send you guys the picture. It was stupid how I finally scooped it all up, and amazing. Now it works great. So yeah.
Imagine that.
It's amazing what happens when you clean your grill.
Well,
Unlike me.
it's not even that much ash though. Like you'll even see in the picture, I'll send it to you guys. But like even in the picture, the ash around the like besides that is not bad like at all actually. It's just directly in like the tray that's overflown with ash and like full pellets that weren't burned for some reason. But I looked it up. I couldn't find anything on it like anybody saying, you know, like, yeah, this happened to me. So maybe I'm the only one. I don't know how it happened. But
yeah. Well, as long as you clean it and it keeps working, you're all good. So
yeah, it is
it's
now.
Speaking of cold weather and grills, it's been cold here for a while, and I've been intermittently using mine, so not regularly like I do in the summertime. So I'm not on a schedule cleaning it and stuff. And Brian and I were cooking a bunch of stuff tonight. For a bunch of people were coming over, and I got it fired up, and it was going. I had a giant piece of salmon on there. I had chicken, had like 4 ribeyes, had all kinds of stuff on there. And I looked out, and Brian was like, hey, I think you got a problem. I was like, what? And you could see flames coming out of the grease port, like where the grease drops out. And I was like, oh, no, that's not good.
Oh, no.
So I grabbed some water and go out there. And I know, like, I know what water does to it, but it's the only way to, like, I could figure out how to flush the grease off the top of it. And what the problem was that deflector shield, I hadn't cleaned it in a while, and some grease on top of it had caught fire. But when Brian opened it and it got some air, it really started going. And then I doused it and he shut it. And when he did, it was like a flamethrower out the side, like where the drippings come out.
Yeah.
And it is just shooting flames, and it caught the bush on fire next to the grill.
Oh gosh.
And I had to kick it out. Luckily, I wasn't wearing my loafers.
Wow.
And of course, all of this was caught on security cameras as well, which is awesome. So everybody watching the YouTube channel will get to see that as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's happened to me before. Not the bushes, because I don't keep, things that get hot and have flames by bushes, but that's just a personal preference.
Again, my fault. I've been meaning to do something about that, but just hadn't got around to it.
Now you don't have to because the bush is gone.
Yeah, you're like, well, I trimmed it back now with flames, so it's okay.
That bush was full of ice, by the way. Like, it's ice and snow, and it completely caught it on fire.
That's
how hot it was.
Yeah. So it was just the grease. There wasn't, because it was ashy inside, because mine caught fire and it was spitting fire out the drip tray. This was my Pro 22, so the smaller one. And it was because I hadn't cleaned it out and vacuumed out. There's just so much ash and crap in there that it just ended up catching fire.
No, the fire was on that tray, like on the top of it. Completely 100% my fault for not, cleaning it here recently. So, and I'm one of the rebels. I don't use the aluminum foil racks on there. I just take them off, use a paint scraper and scrape it,
Yeah.
Tisk.
I know, Brandon, you like the accessories.
I bought the Traeger ones even. I don't even use aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm sitting here looking at Jesse's photo. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It is.
Like, it's packed. Like, so it just kept feeding it in and pushing all the other stuff up. I don't understand. Like, I have no idea. That. Yeah, right? Because wouldn't it just... So that means the auger must have kept going. I would assume the auger kept going and it wasn't on, which is weird.
Almost like you were...
priming it or whatever?
Priming it. It has that mode you can do that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Clear the auger.
No. Yeah, if your kids are like mine, that's exactly what could have happened.
It could very well be that they were just over there messing with it.
They're like, ooh, it's a computer.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's like my tablet. It's like, no, don't touch it.
Yeah.
But, it's weird. Well, it works now, so that's good.
Today's episode is sponsored by Woodpeckers.
Woodpeckers makes a wide variety of woodworking tools, including router lifts, router fences, measuring and layout tools, and many useful clamping accessories.
Woodpecker's new multifunction router base harnesses the power of your router and turns it into an accurate, portable milling machine, complete with micro adjustment. Once mounted, you can move the router in either a controlled straight line or perfect arc. Whether you're cutting arcs on the edge of a project, mortising, creating decorative patterns, or routing recesses, the multifunction router base unlocks your creativity and delivers unparalleled accuracy.
Visit their website, www.woodpeck.com. That's www.woodpeck.com to order your multifunction router base and check out all the tools Woodpeckers has to offer.
So you're covered in snow and ice, huh? The entire Tennessee. Well, to be fair, it looks like Texas is getting the worst.
All my Facebook feed is just like, everything's shut down. The world's ending. Texas has snow. All the Midwest states are covered in snow, and nobody knows what to do with their life. I live in California, and I have grown up in snow.
Yeah, it's not good. Like there's 3 or 4 inches of just solid like ice and snow on the roads right now, because they don't plow or salt or anything in the neighborhoods. Now I think there's been some major wrecks on the interstate here as well. Man, it was over 100 people have died across the United States because of this on the roadways.
Saw that one in Texas. A big pile up with the semi trucks and stuff. That was crazy.
That was awful.
Yeah.
But so I mean, there's just really no getting around very much at all unless you have a 4-wheel drive and you know what you're doing. The problem is that this isn't a lot of snow as it comes to like what you guys get up there, Jesse, but we are completely not equipped for this, both in experience and tools. To take care. I mean, it took me 3 hours today with a flathead shovel to chip the ice off of my driveway, which has a slope on it, just wide enough so that I can then take a snow shovel and get all the chip stuff off of it, so I can get vehicles up and down it. So yeah, it's not a lot, but it is for us because we just don't have the stuff to deal with it.
You should get a blowtorch, like one of those big ones you could put on a propane tank.
I've seen a video of somebody doing that.
Be sweet.
We talked about that, but I figured that didn't work because I don't see people up north or anything doing that very often, and I figured if it worked, they would do that.
I've seen videos of people doing it, but I don't know how effective it is.
I'll defend you a little bit because we get a ton of snow. Like, we've had snow because we're getting the storm. Like, I've looked at the map. Like, apparently the whole Midwest is getting smashed. And then Tennessee's actually kind of on the outer edge too. Like, you're not like the worst of it, but you're still getting hit and you're not equipped for it. But we're on the opposite side, but getting it. So we've had like 5 days of snow. The thing with us is our snow is dry. So even right now, like, we're in such a dry climate, when it snows, it doesn't ice the roads. Like, it takes a lot to ice the roads because, I mean, even when I was working as a state trooper, you could drive through freaking, 4 or 5 inches of snow because it would just like kind of push out, and it wouldn't be like wet slush that turns to ice at night.
Yeah.
That's the issue with you
powder.
guys. Plus, we salt everything. Like, there's, as soon as they even see that a storm's coming, you see snowplows going out and salting all the roads. So we're used to it. So you guys are just got hit, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
It rained for a day, froze, sleeted for a day, and then snowed on top of it. And then tomorrow we got the more stuff coming, another 1/4 inch of ice, and then another 3 to 4 inches of snow supposed to be coming in. So so it's like layer on layer of ice, snow, ice, and it's just not good. But the kids have had fun. The kids have stayed outside more than they do during the summertime right now.
You should get an award for snow shoveling that big old path for your kids. It was friggin' awesome.
It was almost a half a mile. Jeez. And I hand shoveled it. Me and Brian.
That's great.
And
did you shovel it down or up? I would assume down.
Both.
So you had to walk down and then walk back up shoveling again?
Well, we walked from my house to the top of the hill. It's uphill. So we walked up with a beer in our hand and just shoveled while drinking.
That was necessary.
Yeah. And we didn't do like an incredible job on the way up. We were just kind of clearing some stuff. And then on the way down, we made it a lot nicer because it was downhill and we could kind of make it a little bit easier on ourselves.
So I'm
a little confused of why you did that.
Well, because it was a whole layer of ice on the road, and then it sleeted, I guess is a word, and snowed on top of it.
Slotted.
It's salated.
And it made it real grippy, so the kids couldn't sled. It wasn't real slick. So all we did was just use the shovels and get that powdered stuff off the top of it, and it made it really slick. And they were flying for a half a mile all the way down the other side of the neighborhood, down a couple hills. They were loving it. It'd take them an hour to walk back.
Right.
That's so great. I'm sure the kids are loving it.
They did. Carter came in today, and it looked like he'd been swimming all day. His face was just bright red. His eyes are all bloodshot. He just wore out completely.
Are they making snowmen and stuff? Or is that, or
it's not been
kind
great.
Of snow, right?
No. Yeah. Now, after it's froze over the night, like you can walk on top of the snow and it doesn't even leave footprints.
Yep. Yeah.
We just rock solid.
Yeah.
But got all that done and then headed in the shop and spent a good couple hours in the shop today, which was great.
That's good. I spent some too. What did you end up doing?
I trying to work on this next YouTube video. Right now I'm making a cigar ashtray for my next video. I was going to do a 3 projects in one video, but I think now I'm just going to do them separately. One, because I ordered those slab stitcher things that we talked about on the last. Yeah.
Did you? So, not a sponsor. # not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Anyway.
The mustache ones?
I ordered the mustache ones. Yeah.
Nice.
So they're not going to get here because of the snow. I was like, screw it. I'll just break this project up into 3 different videos. Easily can, each one can be a good 10-minute video.
Here's the real question. Did you make 2 cigar ashtrays or just 1?
I'm only making 1 for the video, but I'm doing the same process.
How?
By just clamping a board on the front of it.
Makes sense.
It's a nice little trick. If you don't know what we're talking about, just watch a YouTube video when it comes out. You'll see. It's the easiest way to do
insider information.
It's the easiest way to do cigar ashtrays. Basically, the cigar holder part.
Is there a name for the ashtray? Isn't there like a specific name for a cigar ashtray?
Yeah, or is it a humidor ashtray?
No. What's a humidor?
A humidor is a humidity-controlled box that you keep cigars in.
I think somebody recently, I was talking, because I think it was my buddy was saying that a humidor, but he kept calling the ashtray the humidor, and I was like, I don't think that's correct.
No.
And yeah,
humidor is actually not even specific to cigars. They keep baseballs in humidors.
Oh, really?
Major League Baseball, they keep them in humidors to keep all the balls like exactly the same.
Yeah.
And to keep them like a little bit, from drying out, so they're not as.
You're saying to keep the balls like not super firm, but also like
correct,
firm enough.
And a little bit moist. Just a little moist ball.
That makes sense. I should buy one of those.
Yeah.
We should talk about cigars more. But yes, and they're usually lined with Spanish cedar, which helps.
Oh, are they?
Yep. And
the hell is Spanish cedar?
I don't know.
Never heard of that in my life.
They line cigar ashtrays with them. Or ashtrays. Damn it, Jesse Mullen, you got me messed up. Humidors. That's what they line humidors with. I would assume because they can take the moisture without molding and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just never heard of Spanish cedar.
That's what it is. I don't know. I got to order some because I'm going to
It's
make
just
one.
cedar, but a little spicy.
Cedar from Mexico.
It's not nearly as...
Or Spain. I don't
It's
know.
not,
or
it
Spain.
doesn't smell. It doesn't smell as strong as like actual cedar. Like you can barely tell that it has a smell to it.
We have a commission at work that we're doing for this logging company, and they ordered in, I'm assuming from Alaska, because it's called Alaskan yellow cedar, and it's like super dense, and it's literally yellow. It's not like yellow heart yellow, but a lot more yellow than any other wood. It's pretty weird.
Like yellow wood 2x4s.
I don't know what that is.
Yellow wood? They make 2x4s?
No, we have out here. We have whitewood.
Yeah, ours is whitewood.
We have whitewood. Doug fir is usually like 2x4s out here.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the company.
But...
The company's name.
Oh.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I thought it was going to be like an East Coast, West Coast thing because our pressure treated woods, like people freak out when I just post a picture. They're like, "What wood is that?" It's like just pressure treated wood. And they're like, "What? Why is it brown? Why is there little slits all over it?" That? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I just know it's pressure treated. Okay.
Yeah. All our 2x4s are from our local mill, so they all say Sierra Pacific on them.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to look that up, and I may have just been lying. I don't know. I could have swore I saw commercials. It was the company's name's Yellowwood. At least I called myself on it when I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, my bad. That was a Netflix show.
I swear there's some damn commercials that sell like regular pine, like construction wood, and it's like Yellowwood's the company name of it. Somebody will back me up on the podcast.
There's Southern Yellow Pine.
Nobody's gonna back you up.
It's not the brand, it's the company. It's like
no idea.
Anyway,
this is when someone gets in a lie and they just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until we just say, "Okay,
I know I saw it."
So I started the end tables finally. Cut down those two big, those expensive pieces of ply or whatever. And then I started using I got two 8-quarter, 8 feet long pieces of hickory for the legs. And I was like, I should just buy two just in case I have extra. I used like half of one board for the legs, and I was done. I was like, gosh dang it. I bought a whole bunch of extra. And so now I have 1.5 boards left. So I got to figure out another project to use that, which I'm sure I'll find, something to do. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll glue some up and make a thick butcher block cutting board. Then I lifted up one of the boards. I was like, oh, dude, that cutting board would be the heaviest cutting board on planet Earth. And there's no way.
Hickory is a good wood to have for cutting boards. Anyway.
I don't think so either because
pretty porous.
Yeah, well, and it splits easy and cracks easy.
Yeah.
Yellow wood.
Wow, there's no way that's not only in Tennessee.
That's not a legit company.
Yellow wood.
That's not a legit
For people
company.
that can't see, it's YELLA wood.
Yeah.
Like Jesse talks. Yellow wood.
Yeah. Tobacco.
it is legit. I knew there was something. It's completely legit.
That's got to be local to you. See where their headquarters are.
JP's really good at Photoshop and really fast, apparently.
He's got it down on his phone even.
I could care less if y'all believe me or not. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
I want to know where the headquarters are.
Yeah.
Got to be Tennessee.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
But I got the legs milled out today, and I cut the panels down over the last 2 days. So,
judging from Jesse's face, I don't think either of us know what you're talking about with your expensive plywood.
Yeah, didn't I say it last time? I didn't say this last time.
I don't recall.
Yeah, CJP
I don't really
knows.
listen. I don't really.
So
listen.
I bought.
I completely
Thank
listen.
you.
I listen when we actually do.
I only
this
remember
thing.
you talking about the hickory.
Yeah,
No.
well, it's hickory ply. So I got.
Oh,
remember we talked about how expensive it was.
Just get. Oh, by the way,
It's
I
really
went back to the
heavy,
dealer
it's
and it's
NDF.
less now. that alder that I was talking about that was like
it's
super
way less.
expensive.
So they must
is
have
now
just
like
had a shortage.
$105 a sheet.
They must
Which
have a
also
shortage.
brings up
It's
the
still
fact
more
that
expensive than hickory.
yeah, the guy that works there was like, "You better get all the alder that you want," and I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because we're not going to be able to get it pretty soon." I was like, "Apparently, there's like a nationwide shortage of alder, and the price is going to go up, and you're not going to be able to get it."
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like all my hardwoods are way cheap right now. Like I can buy walnut for, I think it was $3 a board foot, or
For
no,
what?
280
Or
4/4.
yeah,
Well, board foot is what.
that's the other thing that sucks here. I mean, their walnut that they had was like had a lot of sapwood in it. It was real light colored. And he's like, "Oh, check out the new 8/4 alder or 8/4 walnut," and I was like, "Oh, that looks way better." And then I look, and the price had gone up. Like it was $9.99. Now it's $11.95.
A board foot.
Yeah, for 8/4.
No,
but
thanks.
It's a lot darker and like nicer looking. There's no sapwood in it, but still,
It's so expensive.
it's like holy crap, man.
Yeah, that's crazy expensive.
To be fair, it's surfaced on 3 sides.
See, you had I'm always thinking I'm comparing my prices to yours every time you say something. I'm like, California, man, that's ridiculous. But it's because it's surfaced on 3 sides. It's so much easier. I'm doing everything from scratch. No side surface, nothing joined.
Well, rough lumber would be way less, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I don't even have
but I
that
always
option.
forget. So when you say a price and I say my price, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
I always have to remember to say that because I'm so used to it. I can't even get rough lumber unless I drive an hour and a half away.
I really wonder how much time you save, because I assume you save a ton of time.
Well, I don't even have the machines really to like do it effectively.
You have a joiner. You have a 6-inch joiner.
Yeah, but the beds are short and it just wouldn't be ideal for doing 10-foot long 8/4 boards.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that you have to still do a little bit to them, even though they're 3-side?
Probably should, but I don't.
That's my man right there.
Sometimes.
I'd be the exact same way. I'd be like, haven't tried. I don't know. I just kind of run with it.
Well, I pick through the stack just to like pick the best ones while I'm there. So there definitely are some that you would have to mill.
I get 3-side finished. Even when I go through the stack, I end up screwing with over half of them. Trying to flatten them a little bit more, do something.
Well, to be fair, when I'm doing it, it's mostly tabletops, so I'm going to flatten the top anyway. So even if there is a variance, I just run everything through the wide belt, and then it's good to go.
Yeah, at work. So it's just
I'm spoiled now.
That is nice. You ever take yours to somewhere, JP, to get it done, like on a table or anything?
Nope.
Really?
No.
So I've taken mine a few places, and they'll charge you, like the ones near me, they're like, yeah, just for something like this, we'll charge you $25 for basically an hour, like half price. Or
that's so cheap.
Because they know it takes 15 minutes, not even
we charge
that.
$150 an hour for the wide belt.
That's ridiculous.
It's normal.
I mean, I get it, but up here, I don't know, the guys were just like, yeah, just come in. I don't think they get a ton of people that come in. We're in a pretty small valley, so
right.
When they say $25, they probably me and like 2 other people maybe that go in.
Yeah.
But
is it a cabinet shop or something?
Well, one's a cabinet shop and they make like walnut tables, and they have a small furniture section too that they ship like nationwide. And then the other place does like stair railing and things like that, banisters, but they're usually smart. Pretty nice.
If I had a place like that or knew there was one close, I might do it. But I mean, I just basically do all my tabletops in 12-inch sections, run them through my planer, and then do a final glue up. And that way I only have a little bit to make sure it's flat.
Yeah. You got like a couple seams, like 3 or 4 seams at most.
Other than that, everything's already good to go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then I bust out the hand plane and do a little thing called hand planing.
What's a hand plane?
I don't know what that is. You the electric powered one?
Never heard of her.
Powered ones?
Yeah. Busted it out today on the cigar ashtray, actually.
Nice.
Did either of you buy a power planer when you first started out thinking that you're going to be able to flatten a tabletop with it?
Yes.
No.
Because
I didn't buy it. I got it for free from a very black and orange from China company.
Not even Black & Decker.
No, way worse. Way worse. But yeah, it lasted one time through and then took a crap on me. And I was like, oh, okay. And it literally sounded like it was going to just explode. And so I never used it again.
I have a battery operated, I think Makita one. I love it. It comes in handy. Yeah, it really does. I mean, I don't use it flat in tabletops, but
right, they're good for what they're supposed to be used for,
which is like edges, right? Like joining like edges,
doors, or
yeah.
If you got a really high spot that you need to get decently close and then finish, they're great for that.
Yeah, you just got to make sure to set it real.
I don't ever go really more than a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah. Well, I bought it thinking I bought a Porter cable one, like it wasn't a cheap one, and I was like, "Oh, I'll be able to flatten tabletop." Nope.
Yeah.
After my first trough, I was like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work." I was like, "Hey, look, it's a river table now."
Oh yeah, they'll leave a groove like nobody's business right down the center of them. I've used them. The only thing I've used them for on tables is when doing breadboard ends. Because I don't have a domino, so I've done them both traditional and then with dowels. I'll have sometimes one side that is really proud, and like I said, I'll use it to get it decently close, and then use the hand plane to finish it off, and then sanding and stuff. But really, that's the only time on like a table I think I used it.
I couldn't tell you the last time I used mine.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. They're handy. I like that battery operated one. I mean, I've used it a couple times throughout the shop. But I was working on that ashtray, and basically I glued up segments to make it nice and thick, and I needed to square it up. So I needed to flatten one of those sides, and I was standing there thinking about the next shot in the video, and I was like, I can use my joiner, but I know exactly what's going to happen if I use that joiner making this cigar ashtray. Is I'm going to have to deal with at least 20 comments of, oh, it must be nice to have a joiner in a wood shop.
That is not what I was thinking.
Why?
I thought you were going to say it was unsafe because it's such a short board.
No, I glued up a decent size section, and it's a big ashtray. It would have been fine size-wise. I would have ran it through. I don't think that would have been any problem. But I just grabbed the hand plane just that way nobody can complain. But somebody will complain and be like, you should have used a joiner, you idiot.
Must be nice to have a nice hand plane.
Yeah, I got it for $20 at a yard sale and refurbished it myself.
Well, that's just too much work, JP.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. You have too much
I want the hand plane to do it for me.
I was back and forth with a guy today.
Free.
Yeah. I was back and forth with a guy today, yesterday actually, on my YouTube channel with my last video with the drawers. And I don't know, I almost should pull it up and read it to you verbatim because it made me, they don't usually bother me. Sometimes I'll just delete them. Sometimes I'll spout back off or whatever. But this one like infuriated me because he said something like, oh, another video saying it's simple, but it's another pampered Westerner with table saws in a wood shop, and it was something to that effect. And I should pull it up and read it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you an idiot? So I responded back and was like, I bought my first table saw for $20 at a yard sale. And since then I've busted my butt to put tools in my shop to be able to use. And if you thought you were going to find a video on how to produce multiple drawers, efficiently and quickly, and you thought I was going to use a hammer and a chisel, then you completely clicked on the wrong video.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was being a smart ass. And the guy responded was like, well, you really should think about using a hammer and chisel when doing these videos because a lot of people, and especially not in your area, don't have table saws. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Those are illegal in Europe.
I was like,
I used to be like nice on the replies on those kind of things, and now
I'm not
like
anymore.
Much more of an asshole.
And I
I caught one the other day, and it's on my video that has like the most views. It's like the only one that went so-called viral, the desktop one, and it has a bunch on there, like because it says DIY desktop, but it's like, and then everybody's like, well, if I, the typical, if I had all those tools, I could make it too. This is not DIY, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, and the guy was like, you should make one showing only, or he's like, this is ridiculous. You guys should make one, or you should make one that's only using a circular saw and a drill because that's all I own. And I was like, Well, maybe you should invest in some more tools if you want to do woodworking.
How entitled is that?
That was my response. Yeah, sorry. I'll make this free video over again for you. Yeah, only out of these things.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
Which brand do you have? I'll make sure to go get those ones.
Yeah, you have
that
to.
Way it's exactly.
He's like, but you're using a Makita circular saw. I only have Ryobi, and it's like,
how am I going to do this?
And I will take up for
intuition.
I'll take up for myself and for you two as well. You know, we're saying this, but all three of us do an actual good job of giving options to people who are beginning woodworkers, because none of us, even, you know, I do a little bit more, I'd say, like hand tool advanced stuff than you guys do. I don't mean that in any negative way, but
yes, you do.
You're calling us not woodworkers. I understand.
But we all are in the realm of beginner woodworkers, and I think we all still do a good job of you know, keeping it in that realm and giving options of different ways to do things if you don't have certain tools. But for the most part, like, there are like 1,000 videos on YouTube that say, here are the tools you need to start woodworking. If you want to do woodworking in a specific way, as in like making larger things, you know, cabinets, stuff like that, these are the tools that you need. If you don't, if you're a hand tool woodworker, then watching a video on how to make drawers and the thumbnail's a drawer sitting on a table saw, like, it's probably not going to be the video that's going to help you.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if the videos that everybody made, and they only made them to be searchable, like, make this with only these 3 tools. I wonder if over time that has just made it worse. Like,
possibly.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody comes to like
crap.
Anything that, like, oh, it's woodworking related, I must be able to only make it with 3 tools. Like, no, they make hundreds of different tools for specific things. Like,
even in those videos, they're lying. They end up using like 4 other tools.
Yeah, off camera, they pop back and it's all like jointed. Like, wait a second, how'd you cut those dovetails with a circular saw?
Oh, dude, I forgot. So I was shoveling the driveway because it was snowing, and I was having a pretty good day. I was like, you know, it's just, I got a lot done, and I went and picked up the kids from the in-laws, and they're back at the house. I'm shoveling the driveway for like the second time that day, but I was having a good day. The kids are inside by themselves. I was like, they'll be okay for like 10 minutes as I do this. So I'm shoveling the driveway. I'm at like the end of my driveway. I'm shooting a story for my for Instagram, and literally Jack opens the door from my house and just yells, "Dad!" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Millie's got poop on her hands." I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
And she's painting the walls with it.
That's right. It looks, she's being Picasso. And I'm like, oh gosh. So basically at that moment, my day was like over. You know, it was like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I go in, and not only does she have poop on her hands, she's sitting on our couch. I'm like, oh, cool. And it's a dark couch, right? So it's like, I like looked and I was like, I can't say anything, but there's no way I could know. Like, it could be on here anywhere. So I told my wife when she got home, I'm like, you should probably just go over and smell the couch. Just smell around and see if you smell anything. Because I looked, I just didn't see anything
at this point.
Yeah, just burn the couch. I was like, my wife hates the couch anyway. Let's just get rid of it. But
that's always something your wife wants to hear when she gets home. Hey, can you go smell around the couch, see if anything seems strange?
Can you smell the couch?
Why? No reason.
Just tell me if you know.
Is that poop or chocolate?
As the kids are busting you out.
Yeah.
She wiped poop on it.
I know. Dude, it was just like...
And kids will always tell on you, too. They'll always tell on you.
I know. Even when you're like, hey, don't tell your mom. I'm giving you an extra cookie.
Yeah.
As soon as mom gets home, Mom, I got 2 cookies today. It's like, dude.
And Dad told me not to tell you.
I know. Yeah. Like, what do you want? I can't do anything else for you, Brant. Yeah. I'm trying to be the cool dad over here. You're ruining it for me.
My son is the world's worst at that. He will tell his mom every time I give him any leeway on anything.
Well, Dad said I could.
Yeah.
There's got to be a time where it clicks with kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be a time where he does that, and then you're gonna be like, all right, no more. Sorry, dude. Like, no leeway. And then he's gonna complain. He's like, why would you let me? Just come on, just this once. And you're like, no, dude, you rat me out every time. Then it's gonna finally click. He's like, oh, if I don't rat my dad out, maybe I'll get more, you know? And then he'll finally get it.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids
Snitches
are probably
get
10 years
stitches.
from that. Yeah, exactly.
Brandon, did you get in the wood shop, or just the back hurting you too bad you couldn't do it?
Yeah, no, didn't get out there.
That sucks, man.
Definitely not. Yep. Got to go to the mountains with some buddies, rode in some side-by-sides. Back didn't feel very good. I almost didn't go. And then when we were up there, I bent over to like clean my water bottle off in the snow because it had mud all over it. And something twisted in my back and pinched a nerve, and I was laid up for, it still hurts. This is Tuesday. That was on Saturday. So
I fell down the stairs.
Those things are amazing. Yeah, I know.
I fell
You're in
down
a
the
lot better
stairs
shape.
on my back, and I'm still in the wood shop. You've been over to wash off a water bottle, and I get
Right.
called the old man around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you work out, so.
But those things were
did he
awesome,
look
by the way.
athletic to you in that video? Did he look athletic to you whatsoever? Come on, Brandon. He was lying
kinda-
to us. He doesn't
It's
work
a little
out.
graceful.
What? His leg almost went through the railing. He fell on his
literally-
butt. And then after he fell on his butt, wait. You fell on your butt and you were sitting up. And then like all of a sudden, like you fell, you sat up. And then after you already fell and it was over, then you like collapsed down on top of the sidewalk afterwards.
I know that feeling, though. You're just like, screw it. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter anymore.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know why that happens? Because I landed, and then I immediately realized that there was a camera on me, and I was like,
Then you
"Oh."
then you had to start laughing, probably.
That's when I laid out. I was like, golly, and I started laughing.
I love
'Cause I knew
the
that it was
irritation
video.
you had and you threw the hockey stick. You're like, get over it.
This is
Yeah,
your
kids.
fault.
Yeah.
It's because he was laughing
Never
at
would
me
have
too.
happened.
If the whole sidewalk
Oh, was
wasn't-
he off? Was he off the camera?
Yeah,
like
he was
off
standing
scene?
at the sidewalk and watched the whole
best.
thing. Then he laughed at me, so I threw the stick at him because I knew I couldn't get to him in the loafers.
You
That
take
would have
it
been
from
even
here.
better. You try to take off running. You
Yeah.
just fall again. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
No, didn't get on the wood shop. But yeah, did have some fun in the hills. It's been a while since I did anything like that. So
Yeah. So
Other
to go
than
back
it
to
made
that,
me
those
wanna-
things were pretty amazing, man. I mean, what,
Yeah,
what
it's cool.
exactly were
Dude.
those?
well, the one I was riding in was just a Razor. But the ones of the video I was showing you was a Can-Am Maverick X3 Turbo RR, basically like the fastest one you can buy, I think. They're ridiculous. And they're huge. Like, they're way bigger than you would think. Like, especially the Can-Ams. They're like the size of a Jeep almost. They're massive. They have like 32-inch tall tires on them.
jeez.
Yeah, they're insane. And they go, like, unless you rode in one, you'd be like, there's no way that's going up that or through those ruts, without flipping over. And he just, like, floats over it like it's nothing. It's insane.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'd love
Other
to
than it
get
made me
one.
want to go $35,000 in debt to get one. But,
But that's what stops me from getting one.
Holy
yeah,
smokes!
you get
My
used
truck didn't
ones
cost
for
that
like,
much.
right?
Yeah,
That's
mine
what I'm
either.
saying. I'm like, I don't even owe that much on both my vehicles.
Yeah.
Also,
That's
I
crazy.
got like ridiculed yesterday because we're walking down the street, and I told Brian, I was like, dude, we need to get a razor for these kind of days. It'd be great to have one of those, out here right now. And he was like, a razor? I was like, yeah. He's like, you mean like the scooters that the kids are on? I was like, what are you talking about? No, one of those big side-by-sides. He was like, yeah, they're called side-by-sides. They're not razors. I was like, nah, they are razors. He's like, no, razors. So we argued about it the entire way while we were plowing
Well,
snow.
Razor's the brand, right?
Well, it's the model. Polaris makes Razor.
Yeah. So,
gotcha.
but it's the most common. Like,
Yeah, it's
mostly
kinda like-
everybody says razors.
Yeah,
at least,
kinda
I mean,
like
but
Kleenex
side by sides. You guys are both correct. You guys are both arguing over being right, and you guys are both right.
Although he was more wrong. It's definitely not a scooter.
Right.
Oh no! I'm saying the side by side though,
Yeah.
because side by side is a razor.
Yeah. They actually
They're
call them
cool.
they actually call them UTVs.
Yeah. What's
Oh,
it?
gotcha.
I think
Dude,
it's-
and
I
does
can't
it seat
remember.
4 people?
You can get them either or, but these are all 2-seaters.
God, I need to get rich.
Dude.
It's cool.
One of my buddies has a blow-off valve on his, so you can hear the turbo every time he lets off the gas. And it's basically a street bike motor. They have like 200 horse. It's insane.
Two of those
Every time
would
it's
look,
gas, just whoosh, whoosh. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
two of those would look really good in the background of my 3,000 square foot wood shop. As I'm
Right.
filming, and you just see them in the
Yep.
back. That would look cool.
Yeah,
Look awesome, man.
for sure.
So
It's
we're
never gonna
accepting applications for new sponsors, in case you were wondering, everybody. Just kidding.
Next
Can-Am, if
sponsorship's
you're listening,
$35,000.
we'll also accept
You're like, we
Polaris
will-
or Yamaha.
We will trade sponsorship for just product. Of course, it's a $35,000 razor, but still.
We're going to
Each.
say that, and definitely the only razor is going to contact us is the kid scooters.
Yeah. Or Gillette. They're like, your guys' beards suck. So,
Right.
Shave them.
So we got a question from Nicole Owen from Owens Woodworks. Her question: I've been wanting to get into live edge work, but I'm not very experienced with epoxy. So any tips and tricks on how to get started, or if you need to use epoxy at all? Thank you.
Well, first off, I think in live edge tables, it can go two ways. One, if you have two slabs and they're live edge, you can turn the live edge towards each other and then make it an epoxy river table, which I think is what she's talking about.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I would not do that because I'm just not big on epoxy and stuff. I think they do look cool when they're done correctly. Brandon's done some really cool ones.
Thank you.
I would look for something that's a nice wide piece with a nice live edge on it and use it just like that, and sand all the stuff off of it. I'll get all the bark off of it, make it look really nice and smooth. And then you can use epoxy to fill any holes or cracks, knots, anything like that. And I would do something that would blend in and look natural with the wood. So if you needed to tint it or something, I would do it so that you really couldn't tell it. And then I would use that as solid piece as a table. My own preference. I really, really like that. Even when the live edge is on multiple sides, on the two longer sides or whatever, that's the way I like to use live edge stuff. But I know that other people prefer, different ways, like the river table and stuff. But even, I guess back in the day before epoxy river tables, I've seen people turn the two live edges towards each other and then route out a ledge and have glass cut for it.
That's
So
really cool.
that the glass looks like the river. And that's kind of cool. That doesn't really incorporate epoxy, but, kind of highlights those edges as well, too, because you can still see them very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm with you. One of my favorite quotes that JP's ever said, which he doesn't say very many good things, but this was one I liked. I liked when you said, you're like, I wanted to be a woodworker, not a chemist. Right. And I 100% agree with that. Like I made just this last year, I made a live edge table for my porch, my back porch, with a bunch of epoxy. It was, I think, 6 gallons or 5 gallons or something ridiculous. And I hated about every second of making it. And so, if that's something you want to do and get into, and you're really into measuring and making sure it's perfect and like all that stuff, cool, good for you. I think they look awesome, but I don't like doing them. And then and you kind of went over everything, so I'm not going to repeat everything you said. But if you're talking also about filling in knots or big cracks or stuff like that, well, we've talked about like the last podcast or maybe 2 ago, but was the slab stitcher stuff or using bow ties to make sure those cracks don't split. So there's other things you can use besides epoxy to kind of mediate some of those problems without having to use epoxy. So yeah, I'm with JP on it. I wouldn't, and you can definitely get around. I think I have 3 or 4 live edge pieces in my house that don't have any epoxy with them, like a coffee table, a desk, and a bench. So yeah, and they all turned out really good. I really like them. I'd rather not use epoxy if I don't have to.
Also, don't be intimidated by epoxy, though. It's not hard. Like, especially filling stuff. Like, me and JP both have YouTube videos on how to do it in depth. So check those out if you're confused and you do want to learn about it. But it's really not hard. Just mix them. Mix the epoxy as it says on the bottle, and then just apply it to the holes. It's kind of a process and a learning curve, but it's much nicer in my opinion. Especially it's like a dining table or something to have like a solid, smooth surface, food gets down in it or
for sure. I agree.
And it's definitely more easy to clean.
Yeah.
So I do it on a daily basis. I filled 3 tables today with epoxy. So it's like, I'm so used to it now.
One thing you could do too, while like filling in those knots, is you could get the 5-minute epoxy and use that, right? Like the
you
epoxy.
just got to make sure it's not too big of a hole, otherwise it bubbles and gets too hot.
Yes, yeah. So
it's got to be a real small crack.
You do it either in like if it's a big hole, you do half, like tape the bottom, do half, and then do the next half. And I've done that before. And then I've actually used sawdust and mix sawdust in there and throw it in. And if you mix enough, it basically will just look like it filled in the knot. Like it looks pretty good.
You can even do it with glue and sawdust.
Yeah, which is what I do for like regular small cracks and things like that.
Yeah, the the medium thickness Starbond and the colored
Starbond's great.
bottles or whatever, they're excellent for the small stuff, without having to like mix up epoxy.
Have you tried the heavy thin?
No.
Dude. Amazing.
It's like contradicts each other. You say heavy thin.
Yeah. So it's confused. Like, I know. So we were so irritated.
I tell my wife, I'm like, no, babe, I'm not fat. I'm a heavy thin.
I'm heavy thin.
I'm a heavy thin.
Oh, that's awesome. We need shirts with that.
Right? That's what he just says. I'm just a heavy thin. That's what we should do. I'm down. That'll be in the merch store in a couple weeks. Everybody.
Right. No, but Starbond has a heavy. They call it a heavy thin. So it's like we were irritated because I'm like, I wish they made something between thin, because thin is like water or less, dense than water somehow. And then there's medium, which is like sort of thick. And I'm like, you can't ever get the medium to flow like into the really tiny pinholes in epoxy when you sand them. And the thin is just too thin. So apparently they have a heavy thin, which I was never told about. Well, we ordered it and it's amazing. So future reference. Get that for really small stuff.
It's good. I have to try it out. So what is it? What is heavy thin?
It's just the different consistency. Like they have,
but it's not medium, but it's not thin.
It's between medium and thin.
Or medium and okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm still confused. My mind cannot wrap around that.
It's a green label. It's just between medium and thin. It's like the perfect consistency for getting into really small pinholes or cracks. Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely try it because I use that stuff quite a bit for it.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I use now, unless it's a big hole.
Yeah.
I don't even use the medium anymore.
I can remember years and years ago, before I even heard about Starbond, I was doing a table and my friend James was over there helping me. I was like, yeah, I guess I need to go get some epoxy to, fill in these cracks and stuff. And he's like, no, we'll just use some super glue. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, hold on. He just goes over and gets like regular super glue and brings it over and starts filling stuff in and mixing it with sawdust or whatever and put it in the holes. And I was like, you're crazy. Wow, you just use super glue?
That seems really
He's like,
weird.
yeah, it works great.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I always keep a bottle around. That way I can seal up wounds when I cut it on the bandsaw, and you can fill tabletops with it. It's great.
Sense.
Yeah.
He's a smart man.
It's a multi-use thing.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
Jesse, so there's speaking of videos of me surfacing, what about this video with you and the pirate snowboarding?
I'm confused how it's a pirate. Like, what's the pirate part?
Well, it was so there's like on TikTok, there's this like the pirate theme song has been like going viral and people are just putting things to it. So, God, I forget. Do 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 do. You know that one, like from Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyway, so that's going viral, and so we saw this video. We didn't come up with it by any means, but we saw these guys doing it. It's just it made me laugh so hard because it's like the fact that he's sitting down, like the skier sitting down on top of the snowboard as he's doing it is just great.
That was pretty funny.
But we went snowboarding because it's been snowing like crazy. So my buddy came up from California, and we went, and it was just a blast. It was so much fun, and yeah, it was great. But like literally the entire time we were skiing, snowboarding, you couldn't even see your skis. Like I couldn't see the snow was, you're just so deep in the powder that it's like covering your boots. Like,
is that good or bad? I've never been
it's
skiing or
weird.
snowboarding.
it's weird because, when it's not thick powder like that, like, in California, we had Big Bear and Mountain High and stuff that we'd go snowboarding at. It's all blown snow. And so it's basically ice. It's just, they grate it. So it's just like when you're going on top, it's just all you hear is the whole time. Well, this is
painful.
Yeah. When you fall, it hurts.
Right.
This one is just powder. Right. So like, if you fall and you lose your ski when you go to like it's so hard to get up, especially when you're in like the deep trees, because you're like, okay, yeah, like I'm on top of the snow, and you like popped your ski off, and then when you like try to put your foot down without the ski, you'll sink down. Like it was, you're on top of the snow with the skis on, and when you take them off, it's like waist high snow. And you're like, oh my gosh. And so then you have to like kind of like, it's like quicksand. You try to like go spread out as much as you can, climb up, and then try to get your skis on. That's fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
First time I ever snowboarded in Colorado was in Breckenridge. And we, it was my younger days. And me and all my buddies went up there for a whole week or two, and we'd do it every year and go snowboarding. And first couple times down the mountain, we just had backpacks full of beers. We were the whole way up, we were chugging beers, and the whole way down, we're snowboarding. And you get about halfway down, and you're like, man, I gotta pee. So you kind of go off to the side a little bit, and I had no idea how deep the snow was. And I unlashed from the snowboard and went to turn around and go pee. It just sank all the way up to my chest. It was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here.
With your pants down.
How do I get up from this? And you had to like use a snowboard to like get into the snow and then pull yourself up and get out.
That's hilarious.
But it's crazy.
I thought you were going to say you started peeing and then started sliding. You're just snowboarding while you're peeing downhill.
But those are a lot of fun. I miss snowboarding, man. I haven't been in over 15 years, I don't think. And
you should come out,
I love it so much. Yeah.
Come to Utah.
Really should.
Yeah, I kind of want to go again, like as soon as possible, because the snow is so good. Because I just started skiing this year, and so I think this was my 5th or 6th time up this year. Because the one by us is pretty cheap. Like if you go to Park City, you're paying, depending on which one you go to, you're paying $200 for a day lift ticket, which is crazy. The one by us is a family owned, and it's about an hour and a half. Well, it'd probably be like an hour and 45 to 2 hours north of Salt Lake. And so since it's a little secluded up the mountains, it's $50 for a lift ticket all day. So it's pretty cheap. And we've been going up a ton, but I'm like falling in love with skiing. It's so much fun. And yeah, I mean, I used to snowboard, so I kind of want to snowboard a little bit too, but I think teaching the kids, it's going to be good. So, but anyway, yeah. I ate so much shit like 2 times. I like came out of these trees, and I was getting overconfident at the end. Like I was just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go for it. And so I was following my buddy who's been snowboarding, doing backflips and crap. Like he's way too good for me to be following. And he we're like in the trees, and then he disappears. And so then I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I like turn left, and I like see this pretty much straight cut back into like the graded slope. And I'm like, all right. So I go, well, since I only had orange goggles, which like, and when it's snowing and foggy, you don't want orange. The orange is for like when it's sunny, because how much blue light reflects off the snow. Well, when it's not sunny out and you're in those, your depth perception is so like you can't see like the lumps in the snow at all. So I'm going straight, and I'm like, oh, this is easy, straight path. Well, it kind of like went straight, and then it dipped, and then it kind of went flat, and then came back up. And I came down, and I hit that so hard that like the front of my skis touched my knee, and then just completely popped off, and I tumbled just forward. And my buddy thought like I was seriously injured. He like hooked his like freaking snowboard, running back up. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm totally good. But I was just lucky. It was like just so much powder. I didn't get hurt or anything. But dude, it was a good time. Yeah, I'm glad we've been getting some snow here actually.
Brandon, no snow for you?
No. I mean, we went to when we were riding side by sides, we went to the snow.
Yeah, I saw
what's
that.
funny is I actually saw that in your story. I was like, there's snow. At least you get to see a little bit of snow.
Yeah, it snows up. Where I grew up, it snows like a few times a year, typically. like because I grew up in the mountains ish, like half hour away from where I live now. So it snowed a couple times a year typically. So I said, I kind of grew up in it.
What's the temperature at your house now?
Right now it's like warmer than it was a couple weeks ago, but it's like, I don't know, 45, 50 probably right now.
That's so nice.
It's nice.
So
it's a good 17 here right now. So.
Yeah, I've never been in that cold of weather in my life.
Really?
No. I think probably the coldest I've ever been is maybe like 20, if that.
Oh, it was -6 in St. Louis this weekend. No. The wind chill was -17.
Yeah, never been in that.
Yeah, it was cold.
Well,
Very cold.
I've been in like feels like with wind chill negative weather, like when I was riding my street bike in the wintertime like an idiot. But other than that, no.
Yeah. We had one bad weather, which I don't know if I always forget what stories I tell, so you can tell me that I've already told you. But
you have. No,
okay. All right. Now stop. No.
Just shut up. No.
when I was working, it was like midnight, and we were about an hour out from getting off, and it was just a crazy snow day. It was so cold. It was like -25 for like a week here, just from that's peak day. Like the warmest it got was like -25. It sucked. And we looked up the canyon. Our canyon, where like I went snowboarding, has the second coldest spot in the entire United States. So there's only one other place that's ever gotten recorded a colder temperature, and that's in like Montana, and it's like a peak, like what was it called? It's not a peak, like a pass or whatever. Anyway, ours is the second coldest, and we almost broke the record that night because there's a weather station there because it gets so cold. It was -54 up there. Luckily, we had no crashes, and none of us had to be up there. So, but we were checking it. We're like, oh God, please, just like we have an hour left before you clock off. Just everybody be home. Don't do anything stupid.
I was thinking while you were talking about whether it was a pass or a peak or whatever, and the only thing in my mind was we are basically the smartest people on earth.
Yeah, for sure.
I was about to be like, a mountain?
No.
Is that what you mean? A mountain?
I don't know. Like kind of the continental divide. You know how like it's like the peak before you go over the other side?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. There's something.
I know exactly what you mean. I have absolutely no idea what it's called. Yeah. Also, y'all like my shirt?
Person. That is sweet.
I do.
I got the same one.
It's my new favorite
not
shirt.
On right now, but
I like it. I used Power Pro for the first time, like for the bed build actually.
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. You? I know.
Really?
Yeah, for the first time. I love them. They're so nice.
Yeah,
they're really good. I use them for the bed rails to attach the bed rails to the side, and then to attach the little like rockler bed hook things. Mm-hmm. But dude, they were so easy to put in, like the auto sync, or I mean not the auto sync. That's like the
basically
auto drive.
The smartest.
I forget what it's called. Auto drive. Anyway,
mountain.
You know, it was great, dude. Well, because I was afraid I was screwing into the end of the hickory.
Yeah.
And I was afraid it was going to split hickory because hickory splits pretty dang easily.
And you didn't pre-drill?
I did on like 2, and I was like, this is going to take too long. Let's see if it lives up to the hype.
Can't be doing all this two drill thing.
After spending days working on this, I just got friggin' lazy. And I did, and nothing. Like, it was perfect. Wow. I was like, oh, dude, this is great. Fantastic. So
you got lucky.
Well, I didn't know either. They're available at Lowe's, which I didn't know. I usually go to Home Depot, so I never seen them before. And so, I've used some other brands, but
the Star Drive on them is amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna start using them all the time.
And what's cool is they all come. I say this in my store because I was sponsored by them. I've been working with them for a while, and I said it in my stores when I got them first. Every single pack comes with its own bit. Like a lot of the other companies do that with like the larger packs, but even these like the little like 50-piece packs with the like 3/4 inch, they all come with bits.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I used them on that patio cover. That's all I used on that whole thing was Power Pro stuff.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure I'll be
that
using
I
them a
built
lot.
that I got yelled at for using on metal hangers, but whatever.
Yeah, I use it on my garage storage stuff too, and it's awesome. But I've been buying them for Lowe's for years. I mean, that's the only stuff I ever bought. Yeah, the screws wise, I love them. Yeah. They're really good, like Brandon said, with the star heads and stuff. They don't ever strip out, and they do a good job of pre-drilling themselves. Although it's always recommended to pre-drill, Jesse, but
especially in hickory. You psycho.
I wanted to see. I was like, this says that I don't need to. Let's put it to the test. And if it would have
Pretty
split
sure they're
hickory.
talking to like framers, not.
No, that's not what it says. That's not what, they didn't specify. Luckily, they lived up to the hype because it worked out.
Brandon and I had this extensive conversation because we were talking about how we got yelled at for using screws instead of nails in certain places because of the shear force on them.
Sheer strength.
And I'm like, sheer strength, on them. And I was like, I wonder what that limit is. I need to research that. I need to look on Power Pro's website or whatever and see what kind of strength it would take to shear a screw versus a nail.
They do have like graphs for that, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure
I was
they do.
Graciously pointed out to from my YouTube comments.
Because you use it on a deck, right?
Yeah. They're like, you got to use nails. I'm like, okay.
That's what, dude. So it was the same thing with us. This was like on the peak where I was on the huge uptick. I went from 20,000 to like 80,000 or whatever. Yeah. So I was like getting a ton of traffic. And so I posted this deck we built for my brother-in-law with, so it was me, my father-in-law, and my brother-in-law building this deck. And I did a bunch of the videos for it. Dude, I got so much crap the entire build. And the biggest thing was because I used screws instead of nails. And I'm like, they're like, dude, it's gonna pop out, they're gonna break, they're gonna snap, and like I'm like just flooded with comments. Yeah, they've been fine, and we've been in freaking Utah winters for like 3 years, and they're fine. Everybody,
everybody's
everyone
like, well,
take a
Simpson makes a special screw if you really want to use them, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that the deck that my mom is using is not going to break 4 screws holding this hanger on. Yeah, it's like probably not.
That's the thing.
Your 10 by 10 deck that your mom only is ever going to walk on. There's never going to be more than one person on it.
And it's not even going to be there forever. It's like,
so like if you loved your mom, you would have used nails. You would have used nails if you loved your mom.
Now she's going to die because you and your deck.
If it gives away, it's going to fall a good 6 to 8 inches.
Yes. Yeah, I know. So
it wasn't even really a deck. You were just kind of covering the ground.
Yeah, well, this one's actually kind of high in the air, but.
No. Oh, yours is?
Yeah,
the one for my mom is. Yeah. The one I made
Jesse's yours wasn't, right?
No, mine was pretty much like, it was like this far off the ground.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
It was the joist. Like the joist was basically on top of the ground. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if, there's no way it's going to break.
Look, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it all. I like to stay somewhere in the middle.
Right?
Yeah.
I tried. Everything. I even reached out to like Ern from Itsy Bitsy Creations because he's a contractor. And I was like, how do I frame this deck like semi-legit? And so like he told me how to like laminate the 2x8s and 2x10s and this and that and how far the joists had to be apart, and all that stuff. So I did it pretty good.
Yeah.
If I do
I'm
say
sure
so
it's
myself.
fine, dude. It looked good.
It's still there. Hasn't fallen yet. So
there you go.
Plus
your mom's our number one fan. We can't lose her at this point.
No.
Hi, Mom. She watches every YouTube video like multiple times. Shout out to Mike Coffee because she said that's her favorite episode and she's watched it like 5 times.
Oh, dang.
She said he's hilarious.
You know what it is? It's that glorious beard.
It's the beard. It's the beard. She's a fan of the beard.
Yeah.
She's like, the guy with the beard and the space background. I'm like,
That's it. She's like, the guy that looks like kind of like a pirate with the weird mustache. He could probably leave though. I'm like, sorry, Brandon's mom.
There's only room for one Jesse in here.
I know.
Now we have Sam. We don't need you to edit.
I know. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. He also has a way better beard than me. So
he's got a good beard.
Yeah.
Also, I'm thoroughly enjoying Sam's editing. A, because he does a phenomenal job. But B, we don't have to listen to Jesse bitch about it all the time on the podcast.
Yeah, we just
hold it over our
heads.
Bitching about it. We just have a video of Sam doing it. Either way, you're getting it.
Yeah. Well, Sam, we got to have Sam on here. He's got to be a guest.
Right.
Yeah. We'll have him on soon. He can talk about editing and stuff. Little things he does to speed the process up and things like that. Well, we are past an hour. So thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you review us on iTunes. We do appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube.
Share with your friends.
Share with your friends. It's
That's
probably
the biggest
best thing. That is. But thanks for everything. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support. We will have merch dropping soon, including the Smoke 'em t-shirts. So we're just figuring that out and getting that all done. Anyway, thanks for listening. Go build something.
Sorry, I just want to jump in there and say sure.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You ruined my mojo. That's okay.
Good.
I had at least
I'm
3 more
happy about
ums
it.
to say. 3 more ums, and you ruined it.